Hi, kiddo. How was your day? Well, when you say it like that, fine is not the vibe you're putting out. But if you don't want to talk about it, that's all good. You just come here. Hmm. There you go. So, what's been going on lately? Ah, okay. And where do you see that going? Unlovable, you say? I can't really agree on that. You're one of the more lovable humans I've ever met. Yeah, I can see how that doesn't really fix it. It's not that I have to love you. It's, I'd say that it's just easier for me than it is for some, because I truly know you. That helps a lot. Yeah, I hear you. And I'm sorry to hear that. But thanks for sharing now. It's important to me that you know I'm here for that. Well, I don't think love or being lovable is really that straightforward. Then again, humans aren't very straightforward either. Well, I mean, look at our conversation here. I can't just tell you that you're lovable and then we do a high five and go about our day. It's more complex than that. Yeah, exactly. And it needs to land somehow. That's part of why people love stories, and mostly the same stories over and over. Yeah, and all the rom-coms and action movies, and I mean, even if you look at some of my favorite stories who are hundreds or thousands of years old, even those feel like, don't I already know this from somewhere? And some of those places is just older still. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Wow, it's a story about a father who had, well, two sons. And his sons were two plot devices. I mean, I don't know how else to describe them. One of them is perfectly obedient and listens to his father and does everything that he wants at all times, pretty much. And the other one is not that. I mean, you'd think so, but the not that I should probably just call the youngest. Asks his father to get his inheritance beforehand. Because, well, he wanted to be rich now instead of waiting for his father to die and be rich then. I feel that is a special level of disrespect to be like, I know you don't need any of all this stuff you have lying around when you're dead, but could I just get it a little bit sooner? But the father actually goes along with it. Yeah, very story of him to do. The youngest son was like, cool, I'm gonna party and travel now. And he did that. Well, this story is a parable, and as such, it is created to answer a question. And in order to do that, it helps to have these characters who just drive the story home, to drive the point home. Wouldn't you like to know? Well, spoilers. I won't tell you that, but I will tell you that the father was very rich, and as a consequence, the youngest son was now very rich. And in spite of that, he spent all his money, all his wealth. He's now poor, starving, and dressed in rags. Well, desperate times. So, Mr. Party Animal actually got an employment working with other animals. Pigs, to be more precise. I feel like that's his first half decent idea so far, but this is a Jewish story, and pigs, as we know, are not kosher. Yes, literally. So, we're still supposed to feel the bad vibes from this one, I reckon. But he works, and he literally tries to eat the food, like pig food, because he is very much starving. But that doesn't happen, and then he gets this magnificent idea. Yes, his second one. Well, the idea is, let's go work for my dad. He is rich, he has employees. I could just go home and ask to be hired as one of the workers, literally denouncing the right to be part of the family, but asking to be hired instead. I mean, as a character, I don't know. Is he sympathetic now, or is he still a doofus? Well, he is really sorry about it. And I do know what I'd do if it was someone in my family. His father sees him in the distance, runs to greet him, hugs him, kisses him, and is so very happy to finally see his son again. This is a very old story, so this was before texting or anything like that. And I don't know if the father actually heard anything from him, but I'm gonna infer that maybe not, because, well, he was just gone, basically. And the father was like, I hope he's not dead. Yeah, well, he wasn't, so happiness and a huge party. But this is like character moment right here. He does, so he sticks to his original plan where he says, I am so terribly sorry and I'm not worthy of being your son. Let me just be hired instead and I'll earn my keep. Well, the dad is just so happy to see him again, and he's like, no way, you were lost to me, and now you're here. You were basically dead, and now you're alive. And there is no way that this is gonna be anything other than a celebration. The other son, who has always done everything right and obviously has stayed with his dad and has earned his keep continuously, is coming back from work, like possibly quite exhausted. Well, he comes back and he notices, as one does, that there's a giant party going on. And he asks one person there, hey, what's up with the giant party? And he is told that your brother is home and your father is overjoyed to see him again and is having this lavish feast to celebrate that he is alive. Actually, this trope is now quite unhappy and doesn't want to go in and have a party. So now he has developed some sort of a, I don't know, he is a human now. Yeah, it's funny how people do that after the story starts. But anyway, uh, he doesn't want to go in. His father is out there and is like, my son, what the heck's going on? Basically, he says that you have never done anything like this for me, and I have served you unquestionably forever. And now, this guy is back who asked for his inheritance beforehand, who spent it all on who knows what. Actually, the story is fairly explicit that he spent it all on not great stuff. Let's just put it like that. Not great. Yeah, so he's making a point. And he says, why have you ever, never done anything like this for me? Or anything in particular, actually. I've just earned my keep and been fine with it, and so have you. Well, basically, he says, don't you know that everything that is mine is also yours? But your brother was dead and now he's alive. And for that, we must be happy and celebrate. And then they go inside and there's a big party and that's the end. Even though I did my best to hide that away a little bit, you may have recognized this as just being one of Jesus' parables, namely the prodigal son. And so the focus is very much on the youngest, who does all the wrong things and then comes back and says he's sorry and is instantly greeted as one in the family, met with mercy and kindness and joy and love. Yeah, that is very true. And I think if anything, the good thing that the youngest son actually did is he asked for what he wanted. Now, the action of his father there to be like, sure, you can have your inheritance now, that's that's weird. But the son, in asking for it, I mean, who am I kidding? It was sort of rude, but he is asking for what he wants. Unlike the other one, the older one, who is always unquestionably doing everything he is told, and then he is angry when he doesn't get what he wants, but never asked for. Exactly. It is unreasonable. And I think sometimes we need that. Both you and me have been in that headspace where we feel like we are that character making all the dumb choices. But that feeling is not a reflection of how lovable you are, or I am. Because love is under no obligation to make any sense. I really think so. And I want you to know that I will love you always. Even if it isn't reasonable, and even if it doesn't look like I should, I always will. And I think a father's unconditional love is a huge part of the point of this story. Yes, that. Also that. I guess you do have to actually express what you feel and want. I'm not amazing with telepathy. I try my best, but even while I do like stories, there is also a point to just say the thing that you think and others will hear it. Actually, yes. That can be differently effective, but talking is usually a lot better than telepathy, even if you employ it for a long time. That's been my experience, at least. Yes, that is why I'm talking. And also why I insist on driving home my point in this story. I love you beyond all reason. And I do hope, and I do believe, you can and you will find other good people too, who loves you, within reason and beyond. You are that precious and that amazing. And I know that because I know you. And you see, knowing you, really knowing you, will lead good people to love you. I believe that and I stand by that all day